Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
I've had lots of requests. I was kind of wondering because some of the requests in regards to the recordings. Now you know Timmy Mathers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a group over there that I have passed these documents, and what we're doing is we're working on looking at the estate papers and whatnot, and we're actually starting to look at your papers and your research material. And I've got a few questions. Would it be my best interest if I don't know the answer to those? Is just cut and paste and just put that into the Skype window, and then you can answer them at your convenience.
Uh, yeah, you could leave them there, and then I could, when I get to the computer, I could open that up and see what
Yeah,
on there.
because some of these questions, because I haven't dumped a lot of time on that. I'm still doing a lot of foreclosures and RICOs and racketeerings and all kinds of different papers. So,
The thing is, okay,
yeah, go ahead.
okay, if you listen to these audios that I sent you,
Okay.
if you look at those documents that I sent you the other day, okay, I sent those 3 documents off to the IRS out in Fresno. Okay, one was for $10,800. That was 28 envelopes, and I was demanding payment. We demand. We do not do an accepted for value.
No, we already got that. Everybody's in agreement with you on that.
Yeah. And it's not an estate. Okay, we were born. We were given an estate. Now, as soon as we put that up as collateral, now that started getting paid interest. An estate does not hold money, so it rolled into a trust.
Makes sense.
Okay?
Yes, makes sense.
Because an estate can only hold land.
Okay.
A trust can hold both an estate and interest.
It makes sense.
And other assets. So David Clarence is totally fucked up
Okay.
with that deal. And going to the Federal Reserve to get a black card is totally wrong because, yeah, you put your estate up, your land up, as collateral, we'll give you a black card and let you draw off against that, but you're going to use our wagering money in the process. Okay? So they're going to be still hoodwinked into a different type contract. It's going to be even worse than the one that we're under right now.
Well, I kind of sensed there was. I think that what he's doing over there, Pat, is that, and I don't know him that well to be able to call it from one way or the other, but prima facie, he's getting relief for people, and we've had a lot of proving ground in the last.
That's Chris. You got to look at this.
Yes, go ahead.
Getting relief for people, is it setting them up for the big kill, or is it really getting them totally free? Okay, I think it's setting them up for a bigger kill that they're not going to be able to get out of, and in this case, they're going to be turning over real asset over to the money changers.
Well, I told them last night on the call. We had a private call, and I says, David Clarence's document can stand on its own, but it's prima facie. Anybody that got called upon is to answer the substance that's behind it, that's where the effectiveness was going to go bye-bye. And I told everybody that you need to structure a trust, you need to structure something behind all of this in order to give it substance. And so I'm with you on that. I think that they're a little shy and a little short with being able to prove it.
Now, all your paychecks that you get, okay, you get them from somebody. You do a 1099-B on those.
B as in boy?
B as in boy, 1099-B, it's a bartering transaction. They are giving you Federal Reserve dollars, but you have to take and get it converted back into real money. Even though they're the payer and you are the recipient, And see, that's where we were getting the words all mixed up. We weren't seeing what was actually sitting right in front of us. The 1099-B cleans up the money before you deposit, or when you deposit it into your account, so that you're getting paid Federal Reserve dollars, but when you do a 1099-B, that will go back into the system and process the real asset over to your checking account.
Would that be the pure credit? Would that be actual redemption of gold and silver? What are you saying here?
No, it's just real money, okay? Real assets, okay? It's still just going to be on paper, but it's going to have real backing behind it, okay? They can't monetize it times 10 or anything like that.
I see.
So now that's sitting in the bank as real money. You write a check out. The check comes out of the checking account. First thing the bank's going to try and do is monetize that. They send you a monthly statement.
Mm-hmm.
You turn around and do a 1099-C on that. That cancels out their usage of monetizing that money. You say, that's to be paid with real assets out of my checking account.
Well, 1099-C.
When you go and put a lien on my property and try and do that shit, well, you have to sort of look at what I'm, and that's what part of those audios that I had. It's number 9, and then 1099-A. I sent you a marked up of 1099-A. Also, I haven't talked about it on the audio yet, but I will be getting to it, the 1099-OID.
Okay.
The 1099-A that they use for abandonment, and see all contracts that through the banking system, all these monetary contracts are wagering bets, and a wager bet has to come off the books at the end of 3 years. M1, M2, M3. M1 is the amount of money that was basically created that is still in circulation after 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
M2 is after 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
M3 is after 3 years. There's no M4. All contracts are dead.
Well, that kind of goes along with when you get a PG&E bill and you do an unclaimed dividend on that with the comptroller, that means that after 3 years you no longer have, and this is what the comptroller said, is that it's unredeemable, that it actually gets reabsorbed in the system.
Yeah, and basically it's supposed to be settled into your account. If you're supposed to be getting the pay, it goes into your account. So the 1099 OIDs, okay, or the interest or the fee that the banks owe us, it goes into our FIDE commissary account. True, and the person who is getting that is the quasi-trustee over our account.
That would be the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah, the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah.
The same thing with the 1099-A for abandoned funds or for abandoned security. They're the ones that are getting those copies, not us, because they're the trustee. And then I want you to look very closely at that 1099 cap.
The C.
CAP.
Oh, CAP. Okay.
Stretch your mind a little and see, wait a minute. This says that we're taking a corporation and we're going to change the control of that corporation.
Okay. And does that mean that you're converting your straw man? Is that where you're going with it, or what?
That's what I'm saying is the control right now is under the Treasury. We're just going to step in with new management and put ourselves in there and move it over to our trust.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying, this particular form could be doing what you were saying earlier about the Supreme Court actually doing it for you.
Right. If they don't do this, then we would go to the Supreme Court.
I see. In other words, if they fail to follow through with their trustee duties, is that would be where you have exhausted your remedies. Therefore, you had no other recourse but to take it to the Supreme Court.
And I think that we would send this to Geithner.
Criminals are us, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's the treasurer, and basically I think they've been acting as the trustee. So we have to get it into the hands of a trustee and say, okay, here it is. And we've also got it on file with the IRS when we send that in. So we're notifying them, and we would put full amount, one share, 100% is what I was putting behind it.
Okay.
And, but, yeah, think about that.
Well, does that necessarily mean, because we were talking on the phone last night, and, you know, some of this stuff is new language for me, okay? So I'm going to have to try to piecemeal this together. But when I'm looking at this, the CAP right now, when it says second line, corporation federal ID number, what they were talking about on the phone last night is to obtain a, what is an SS4 or SS5, you get yourself an EIN number, that becomes kind of the working party. Would that be what you would be putting in this corporation federal ID number slot on this CAP?
No.
Okay.
You leave theirs blank. Okay. No. That is going to be your Social Security number.
Your birth certificate variety.
No, your Social Security number.
Okay, your Social Security.
First number there is your Social Security number. The second number is going to be where you're going to be putting it. That's going to be your 98 series EIN number.
Oh, 98 series. Okay.
And down at the very bottom, there's another number. That says.
Oh, yeah, account number. It says see instructions. Hey, well, Timmy had a great idea that I didn't think about, and I thought it was unique. He says that they've pretty well perfected this DOT. He says that DOT number they issue you could be your additional number that you can use in these slots.
Nope.
You don't agree? Okay.
The number that you would put down there is going to be your birth certificate number at the very bottom.
Okay, so the birth certificate go down there. Okay.
Yes.
Well, is there any room for using the DOT number in any capacity?
I want you to think about this. Where'd that DOT number come from?
Department of Transportation.
The public.
Okay.
Do you want to use a damn public number?
Well, it does show a prima facie that you're not part of Commerce.
Not really. It's just like all that UCC garbage that we did.
Yeah.
That was total bunk.
Yeah.
I got one guy that's minister that was from here in the state of Iowa. I got a letter from him. He's out in Fort Dix, New Jersey, in the federal pen out there.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to get a transcript of that court audio that I sent to Lynn and try and have her do a transcript of it, and then I'll send that out to him. But the remedy is right there. If people just wake up and listen to me about going into court, it's not that damn hard. Paul Revere did it 200 years ago. Same scenario. Jesus did it. Same scenario. You stand by the law of the land and forget all this other garbage. The plaintiff in the court case, they're coming in there as artificial people. The judge is an actor. The defendant is really an artificial person. You walk in there as the living person, who's the only thing of reality that's in that damn court case.
Yeah, that's true. They're all looking for
the paramount person.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Rod Class and what he found out, he says that the real living party is always the plaintiff, regardless of how they stipulate it in a court case.
But you have to do that by you let them come in, and if you have to get into a court case, your action is to do the cross filing. Then you are the plaintiff in all cases.
Yes.
Yeah, you turn the tables on them.
Yep. But you basically have to wait until they actually have an act towards you or a complaint towards you before you can actually become the plaintiff. And then it's not dismissible once you become the counter-complainant.
Yeah, but before that, we should get them on every type of dishonor imaginable. That judge will, when he sees all the dishonor that we've tried to settle this thing beforehand, he may not even allow it into the damn court.
Well, yeah, and I think that, Carl Weston, he sent me some documents this morning that were a default judgment that somebody had filed, and I guess apparently it was thrown out as soon as the judge got it. And it basically was a chronological filing of administrative processes that ended up being like almost 20 different default processes administratively, of where the judge ruled a Rule 55B2 or B1. It had said a B1, which would be a clerk signing off on it, but apparently the whole case is thrown out because of his chronological schedule of all the defaults. And I thought, well, shit, that's a proper way for me to deal with that too, because we do have a lot of dishonors against these criminals or us.
Yeah, and then it's very easy to get these guys into dishonor. I had a county attorney here, but he's a complete nitwit, and basically I got him in dishonor so damn quick it was pitiful.
Yeah. Yeah, for some
he
reason.
didn't even come into my court case.
Well, apparently that's happening in a lot of court cases now, is where they've gotten smart after the fact that they're in dishonor. They just don't show up. And it's kind of comical because a lot of people are reporting the same thing.
Yeah, so then when you go into court, well, who's the damn prosecutor? The judge is playing the damn part, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what do you, have you heard any good news? Have you heard any good...
Monday I called the IRS. You see, she called me back Tuesday, I think it was. Okay. I talked to her for about a half hour. This is local IRS agent. Okay. I told her that I'd sent these documents out to Fresno to pay and settle the item, if needed. Okay. And you'll see that in those letters that I sent you and the write-up in there. That's very powerful shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you really ascertain what the hell I have in those letters. So I was talking to her, and basically she got into something, about these people that are going out and having seminars and charging for them. Mm-hmm. I spoke up and said, I have not charged one red dime for anything I put out. She responded right back, yes, we know. Yes, we.
No.
We know.
Well, I kept telling, last night they were talking about on the call that, I moved and didn't give notice to anybody, but they knew right where to find me when they wanted to communicate with me. And I says, well, yeah, because they know everything about you.
Yeah.
I mean, virtually, that's what's going on with me, too. It's just like, virtually, I'm completely penniless as far as it goes for having any currency on a normal average turnover. I am so poor that I have to stock up when I've got money because I don't know when the next time I'm going to have any money in my pocket.
Yeah, well, that's basically about the way I am. I've been getting rid of just about everything that I have.
Yeah.
I got a trailer that I'm going to be getting rid of that now that I've finally got this thing broke down.
Well,
it wasn't until just yesterday morning. Mm-hmm. Now, the funny thing after was I told her I was going to send copies of his overture by fax. Well, that afternoon I went out and I was cutting wood, and then somehow or other I strained my damn hip or something, and I had my whole left leg was just throbbing like mad. So for about the last 3 days, I've been in pure pain on that.
Why don't you, when you get a chance, this is what I do when that happens, and it happens quite frequently, is when I, at my age, if I'm cold and I'm starting to move something heavy or bulky, I do exactly what you're doing. So when you get on your back, take each individual knee and bring it up to your chest and breathe openly and let your body relax. Every breath, and then switch to the other leg and allow yourself to breathe into the pain and watch the tension in your lower back go away. And if you do that 4 or 5 times for each of the legs, and it only should take you a couple minutes or 3 minutes to do that, you will find that the spasms that were set up in there were released because of your deep breathing and your power to release that stress. And you will get better. I guarantee that.
Now, this had to have been the muscle that attaches to the hip joint going all the way down to my toes.
Yeah, that's your sciatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sciatic. Your hips probably shifted to where it's pinching the sciatic. And if you do what I told you to do, you take these deep breaths, and you just breathe into where the pain area is, and you allow the energy to disperse. Just phantom that all this energy is going bye-bye, it's leaving your body. Take another deep breath and do the exercise before you're releasing this. Switch your other leg and do the same thing, and you go rotate back and forth. I guarantee you, Patrick, you'll get rid of that problem. I've got the same identical pattern of stuff going on.
Okay.
And it's the only thing that gets rid of it. It's the only thing I mean, you can go to a doctor and pay lots of money, but I don't have money.
Yeah, I hate those quacks.
Yeah, but, sometimes it's necessary, especially if you can't get something.
Only when I'm bleeding profusely and need to be stopped.
No, I hear that too. My grandfather was the same way as I am, just like you are. If I can stay away from doctors, that stupid doctor. I had whooping cough, and I had this crippled knee, and it was throwing everything off my body terribly bad. I was in pain like you couldn't believe, and they says, well, there's no permanent damage, but they didn't do a damn thing. Well, you're just going to have to just stay off of it. Well, Jesus, I've been on it I've been dealing with it for 6 months, and it's not going away. I told the doctor there's a pinched nerve in there, and he just, for some reason, it's like right over the cuckoo's nest, Yeah. Anyway, my question for you is, with these administrative processes, is anybody being able to market those suckers that you know?
You mean get them through the system to function yet?
To monetize. Hold on for a minute. I've got another income. Just give me 1 minute. Hello? Hello? Somebody's, they must have hit their button on their telephone. Go ahead.
No, basically is like I said, what I did. I sent one off to to demand settlement for tax issue. Now, in a tax issue, if they're coming back after you past 3 years, okay, which I've got the state of Iowa's trying to do with me for 2002, 2003. Well, here's a slight problem with that. All those issues were to be settled after 3 years.
Yeah.
Who is the one that is lodging the complaint to start that IRS action or that state tax action?
Well, it would be my presumption that they're claiming that it was in dishonor because it was abandoned. Therefore, the funds that were there to credit...
No, it's already settled. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is the only one that could come back and do something to you
Um,
that paid the tax?
Treasury.
The bank.
Oh.
The money changers. They're in bed with the damn politicians and everything else. They are the ones that turn around and do a 3949A against you, and then basically the IRS or whoever comes after you, and they basically share the damn profits of getting you to pay for something that was totally fraudulent charge because it had already been settled. But you had pissed somebody off, and I have pissed somebody off. The two local banks right here in town.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's why I was trying to say to people, you have to follow the money trail. Who is out there to gain in the whole thing? The money changers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start to find out the whole truth. All these mortgages, they're paid for after 3 years. This 30-year mortgage bullshit is total fraud. They gave you a check. You deposited into your checking account. You wrote a check out of your checking account over to the other person to buy the house.
Okay, so you're saying the M3 would have been the form of funding, and that all settlements are finished and finalized.
No, the M1, okay, you have M1, M2, and M3. You basically write a check out of your checking account today. At the end of the first year, and see, they created, you wrote a check out for $100. They created $900. So right now there is wagering money in the form of $1,000 out there in circulation. That at the end of the year goes into M1. Now, if you come in and settle that next year with real assets, that will not show up on M2. But if you do not settle it with real assets, it will still appear in the M2 at the end of the second year. At the end of the third year, if you've not settled it, it will still appear on the M3. Now, after 3 years, it's fully settled because they have gone in and claimed the abandonment and pulled that amount out of circulation. They can only allow this funny money 3 years from the initiation.
So are you saying that they filed a 1099-A at the end of 3 years, and they forgot to send a copy of that to the person that borrowed the money?
No, they sent it to your trustee. There was no forgetting it. They're not going to send it to you. They're going to send it to the trustee, the quasi-trustee, the Treasury.
Oh, to the Treasury.
Yeah.
Well, can you request a FOIA, or can you request a personal receipt for that 1099-A?
We've tried that.
And
we won't get it. And see, that's why all these people were getting in trouble doing these 1099 OIDs, is because the Treasury, as the trustee, has already gotten those and taken care of them.
Well, how come it doesn't get reduced off the books then?
Because it's going over into our FIDE commissary account that we don't see, that we don't know how much we got there.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's all properly being accounted for, but we just don't see it, and then we haven't gotten smart enough how to access this. And that's where, when we start looking at these forms the right way, the 1099-A, the 1099-B, the 1099-Cs, because we were told to learn our ABCs, and then we will see what the hell. And then you have a CAP, a 1099 CAP.
At the top.
Capstone.
At the top of that 1099 CAP, it's got a void and a correction. What's that about? Did you figure that out yet?
No, I haven't.
All right. And I see that there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 sections to that, right?
Yeah.
And you have to get the original ones from the IRS. You have to order this stuff. You can't use these, can you?
Yeah, you can't use. Well, you can use them, but you'll pay a $50 fine or whatever.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It's best just to go ahead and
Order a box
order some from Bloomington. They'll get them out to you within within 10 days at least.
Bloomington, that would be at the IRS department over there?
Bloomington, Illinois is where they come all those forms come out of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, shit, I've gotten probably about 20 packages from them. Sometimes you'll get the $300 penalty envelope, sometimes you don't. I think they've pretty much given up on me.
Well, you out of all the people I know, you've clocked in more time on all this research and stuff than anybody else I know. So, if anything, they probably are pretty pooped out with you. You're like one of the Energizer bunnies, you never wear out.
Yeah, that's why I think they keep hoping I'm going to wind down here.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to scoop, brother.
Okay.
I'll look these over. I'll pass them to the group and let them deal with the, and then the questions that they send back to me, I'll just forward those to you.
Yeah, or basically, have them drop me an email or whatever.
You want me to have them directly contact you?
Well, yeah, either that or go to the site or whatever and post a message there. They could do that too.
Give me the site one more time. It's Yahoo something or other?
It's We the People, all one word. _ shareholders.
With an S at the end?
Yep.
And then that's at Yahoo?
It's Yahoo. Yeah, it's a Yahoo.com. It's a Yahoo group.
All right.
Now, see, shareholders. That 1099A or 1099 CAP.
Yeah.
Shareholder.
Yeah, I got that. All right. Well, let me talk to you in a couple more days because I was really pooped out when you called. I was about ready to fall asleep, and I had 3 people call me in a row, and that's like 3 hours ago. So if I could just lay down for a few minutes before my client get here, I'll feel okay. So I'll talk with you after a while.
Okay, yeah, bye.
Thanks, bye.